The Mastermind's analysis is sponsored by Figure 4 Radio and is brought to you in association with Toby's Toy Box and Sharpshooting with the Killer.
Figure 4 Radio.
You have an exceptionally vile mind, you know that?
Isn't safe to go inside.
And now it's time for the Mastermind's analysis, proudly sponsored by Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in to the best wrestling show. Hello and welcome to the Mastermind analysis. My name is Ollie Spring. I am the Mastermind and I am joined by my long-time broadcast colleague and founder of Figure 4 Radio. It's the Killer, Kai Brand.
Good evening.
So Kai, we're going back in time a little bit. Do you remember the Heatwave podcast?
I do. It's on iTunes. It's on Podomatic. I'm going to put it on the website, so by the time you listen to this one, it'll be on the website as well. It was a long time ago in a sauna far away.
That's it. It was in the sauna in the Mastermind's parents' house. That was the story and a half. Go back, find iTunes, Podomatic, all that lot. It's on there if you want to listen to it. I think it's called the heat, something about heat or summer heat or something like that.
I can't remember.
So a little bit of background information. I'm trying to find the best match of all time. It's a big question. Everyone's trying to answer it. What's the best match of all time? Everyone's got their opinions. I'm literally doing the core research by watching almost every match I physically can. And thanks to the WWE Network, we're not sponsored by them, but we should give them a thank you. I've watched now probably about 2 solid weeks worth non-stop of wrestling over the past few years. Yeah, actually, no, it was almost a year ago, I think, that we recorded
It was a
the
bit
last
longer
one.
than that.
Maybe?
Yeah, I
maybe
think
a bit
it
longer.
is.
So it's been a while. So I'm breaking it down into eras. So we've previously done the kind of the golden era, if you will. We called it the first 10 years, but it's often known as the golden era. Today, in fact, I'm just loading up my feed to find out when it was. 1st of June 2014, we released it. Heatwave, WWE top 10 matches from the first 10 years. The next era that is loosely defined is the new generation era. And as you will quite happily tell me about WCW, the WWE weren't so hot at this time.
I think at that point they were intertwined into each other. There was no sort of out and out star. Like WCW, I think was better because it had.
I literally have no idea about WCW though.
What's the years of the new gen?
We've kind of looked between, I think it was 95 and 97/98. So I mean, granted, it's not a big era, and I think you pointed out that we're only looking at a handful of years, kind of 2 years really. But there was almost the same amount of pay-per-views in those 2 years, and there was the first 10 years combined. Because you look at back to the 80s, you had WrestleMania and you had Survivor Series crept in. You had the Big Four and nothing else. But This is the era that In Your House really came in, and they started doing monthlies. It's where they ramped up. So there's just as much wrestling in these 2 years, and there was the entire decade before.
Now, what I was going to say is that WCW, where I think it was better than WWE or F at the time, is the fact that WCW had the legends like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Sting, Ric Flair. They also had...
they brought over Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah, in 1995, and I'm starting Nitro from the beginning, they also had Chris Benoit just come in for his debut. Yeah, they had Eddie Guerrero. They had like the newcomers at that time.
That's it. A lot of the people that were influential
exactly. So they had legends
in the later eras of WWE.
They had legends and the newcomers, whereas I don't think WWE had that so much. I think they struggled a bit.
Yeah, I agree. So basically what I've done, I've watched literally every single pay-per-view chronologically from WrestleMania 1 up until, I'm kind of dipping my toes into the Attitude Era now. Austin's really starting to catch fire. In my current state, but basically what I do, I rank every single match. I've got a Mastermind spreadsheet. It's geeky as hell. I don't care if you want to mock me for it. I basically pick out the top matches. Like I kind of try and pick out enough to leave it open so it's not just my top 10. I like to give Kai a chance to kind of influence it and give me his opinions as well, so it's not just me saying this is the best match. We can kind of say, well, actually I think this is better, and then we can have a discussion, so it's not just me being an egotistical bastard. So a little bit of statistical breakdown. This is where it gets bad, actually.
Okay.
We watched 22 matches In one, well, actually, no, we did this in 2 days now, didn't we? We split it up because we couldn't do it at the weekend. We tried it in a midweek. Oh no, we did. You were watching football.
Yeah, no, I was watching.
We could have started earlier, but you watched football. We watched 22 matches, which spanned a total of 7 hours, 43 minutes, and 42 seconds. And that's just 22 matches, 7 hours.
Yeah,
for almost 8 hours. The most appearances by an absolute country mile was Shawn Michaels with 11 matches, which was about 4.5 hours worth of Shawn Michaels. 11 matches, whereas the next top two, we had Bret Hart with 6 and Mankind with 5.
At least 20 of them had somebody who I spotted every single time was a Dave Grohl lookalike.
Yeah. We've spotted, and that's the thing. It's I think he's sat next to Hat Guy and Sign Guy in ECW a lot. But you notice. Then there's another guy that just looks like a standing guy, but I always see the same guy in the front row. We're starting to notice it, and it's kind of fun actually now when we're watching the matches. We're like, right, spot the guy. It's the long curly hair and the black circular glasses. He's in a lot of front rows somehow.
I think I started giving points for the match just because he appeared and I could spot him. Like, oh yeah, he's there. Right, great.
Too. Okay, so basically, we're going to just break it down and go through all the matches. I'm hoping. I mean, what I'm really hoping to do on this. There's always the matches in this era that everyone will talk about. There's two specific ones, but I'm sure we'll get to those. But I also want to try and include some kind of rare ones that you won't have heard of. That people will go, oh, I've never watched that match. Maybe I should go check it out. So that's what I'm hoping this will achieve as well. So not only to try and find the ultimate wrestling match, but also to kind of show the people that think they know, throw in some other ones into the mix just to kind of see if I can catch people off and find some hidden gems, because I love hidden gems, things that you didn't know. That everyone can go on the internet and find about Austin and Brett at WrestleMania 13, but not many people will know about other matches.
I'm about to say, I'm just looking through my notes throughout the long ass day. Now, one of the matches came out was Royal Rumble '95 was Diesel and Bret Hart, and one of my notes, a sentence of it says like playing Candy Crush. No idea what that was. I can't remember why I wrote that.
Well, it could be fun. This is why I always encourage you to make notes, is because it's kind of hard to remember specifics, and I've got a lot of notes. So we'll go through. I'll give you the rundown, then we'll find out what we thought. So the first match we watched was the Royal Rumble 1995. Bob Holly and the 1-2-3 Kid defeating Tatanka and Bam Bam Bigelow with Ted DiBiase for the vacant WWF Tag Team Championship at 15 minutes 32 seconds. So this was the final match in a tag team tournament for the vacant titles. Bam Bam and Tatanka spent the majority of the match in control until a miscommunication opened the door for the underdogs to steal the victory and become new tag team champions. What did you make to that match?
I thought it was a standard match that
it kind of was, wasn't it?
The bigger guys, the badass guys were always on top, and the underdogs, everyone was cheering for the underdogs. Obviously, Sparky McGee and 1-2-3 Kid. I forgot what his name was. Sparky Plug.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone was cheering for them because they are the smaller guys, the more athletic. And so it was kind of a standard wrestling match.
It kind of was. And this is what I found, trying to pick out my kind of 22 matches. The top kind of 5 or 6 were really easy, but then I needed to kind of pad it out. So I had to pad it out with stuff, and this was kind of the best of the rest almost. From memory, I think I just really enjoyed the match because you've got Tatanka, you've got Bam Bam Bigelow, two quite big guys compared to Bob Holly and X-Pac.
But they could go, though.
Yeah. But no one thought that the little guys would have a chance. And I think it's one of the first times where there was a proper underdog story in a strong match, I thought. It wasn't, but it also wasn't a squash match because they were kicking out, they were putting up a fight. So I think I enjoyed it for that kind of feel-good factor.
I think as well as because of the 1-2-3 Kids' history against like Razor Ramon when he got the win then.
He was kind of the first ever Ultimate Underdog.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, everyone knows that and everyone can see that actually this could still happen. They could get it. Come on,
That's
lads.
it. And when it happened, I think the place went crazy because, Tatanka and Bam Bam, they were the $1 million corporation with Ted DiBiase, and it's almost like Bob Holly and X-Pac were kind of fighting for the common man, as it were, or the people that didn't have millions of dollars, and they weren't 7-foot-tall brick shithouses. They were kind of just standard guys. You know, he was a race car driver, and 1-2-3 Kid was just a Karate Kid ripoff.
Stupid little kid. Well, yeah, he was. Who didn't do the crane kick.
But it was a fun match, and it kind of eased us in gently, I think. The second match, as I say, was another match from the Royal Rumble in 1995. Diesel fought Bret Hart to a draw after outside interference halts the match at 27-19. So that was a standard back and forth match with Bret working over Diesel's legs. Yawn. Bret hits suicide dives, which was very rare for the 90s. Diesel hits the jackknife powerbomb, which results in Shawn Michaels running in to interfere. Earl Hebner throws him out, but somehow lets the match continue. Bret uses a chair on Diesel, but Hebner lets the match continue. Bret applies the sharpshooter, which draws Owen Hart to interfere. Hebner throws him out too. Shock horror, lets the match continue. And a few minutes later, Shawn, Jeff Jarrett, Road Dogg, Owen Hart, Bob Backlund, they all run to the ring and attack each man that they had beef with. And finally, Earl Hebner throws out the match. Was this your Candy Crush note match?
Yeah, it could have been, actually, as obviously you got 3 bananas coming in to interrupt it, and of course all of a sudden it carried on. You just carried on playing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this story there's no point to the story. There's no point to Candy Crush.
That's the thing. At that point, I think it was a really good match between the two
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was kind of every Diesel match. I can just imagine what they're talking about in the back before the match. Hey, you want to work over my leg? Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Every match. Yeah, just work on my legs, man. Just work on my legs. Tear a quad or two, and then people will believe that. It kind of gets it's a bit of a
It makes sense to.
I mean, it does
Bret
because he's
Hart,
7 foot tall.
Well, yeah.
But it happens every match. And for once, I'd like to see someone try something different in a Diesel match.
But then, if you are 7 foot tall, and if you are Bret Hart, who's got the sharpshooter, you're going to go for the legs. That's the kind of the area he
Bret
needs.
Would always go for the legs regardless. It's kind of. I mean, do you remember Showcase, the wrestler?
Yes.
His tactic was always the same because he would always work for that bear hug and that camel clutch move, and everything he would do would just focus on the back every match. I can't help but think it's good, and it's good to be able to do the simple things and the basics. But I would just love. I hate to be bored and by predictable matches. So whenever you see a Diesel match, you just know he's going to have his legs worked over. Whenever you see a Bret match, you know he's going to work over someone's legs so he can get the sharpshooter on. I've always preferred wrestlers with a bit more versatility that can make you tap out if they want, or they can beat you with a strong move. Yeah, not just this. It's like Rusev. I love Rusev, but it's the same shit.
Yeah, it's just like John Cena. Hey, he'll bring out the bigger moves.
That's it.
Maybe at the pay-per-views, but it's the same.
That's the thing. Variety is good, people. Variety is good. So it was an alright match. I think I would have probably liked it a little bit more if it wasn't a double DQ and all the interference. But I guess it kind of set up the matches because then they went off on their separate directions with each person that interrupted. Because I think Bret Hart was in a feud with Owen and
what
Bob
happened
Backlund
after that match in terms of storyline? Were there storylines or something?
Yeah, there probably were. I know they went on. I think.
Did you care?
No. Oh no, of course, because it led to the next match on the list, Diesel versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 11, kind of, because they were kind of having a love-hate relationship. So match number 3, WrestleMania 11, Diesel defeated Shawn Michaels with Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship at 20:35. So Shawn tries to control early on with his speed. Earlier on, he gets thrown over the top rope and takes out a photographer. And he has a little tantrum. That was quite funny because the ring was absolutely surrounded by photographers. Shawn continues to use speed and high-flying tactics, hitting a cross-body block to the floor, as well as a splash from the apron. Earl Hebner twists his ankle on the outside as Shawn hits sweet chin music. The count is delayed because ref's got to come back in, which results in a kick-out. Diesel eventually hits a jackknife to retain the championship. First WrestleMania match, first Shawn Michaels match.
Yeah, it was. I quite like this match in the terms of when, after initially watching Diesel and Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels comes out and Shawn goes flying around the ring. It was something different, and his bumps looked intense.
You could always tell when he was working with someone he liked because he made it look convincing. He worked his arse off for his friends. No one can blame him for that.
Yeah, and I think it helped, especially at this time where I think fans were starting to get bored of the older generation. It was a new transition, and of course this higher tempo was starting to come in.
Both of them were kind of in betweeners. They weren't good guys, bad guys like they had. They were good guys with attitude or bad guys with attitude. It definitely was shades of grey at this point, I think. And I think from what I gather, that was when Vince Russo started doing the booking for them, so it was a lot more car crash TV.
Yeah, and for them, they needed that at the time. But I've also got a thing called Revved Up Botch Bomb. Did they botch the jackknife or something?
But I think you thought they did, possibly.
Oh yeah, it looked like it. They did.
Yeah, but still, it was the ending. It happened, and I mean, it was a nice long match. What kind of standard, I guess.
Oh, Dave Grohl was in this.
There you go. So extra point for this match from Kai. Next match on our list was from In Your House 2, which was Shawn Michaels defeating Jeff Jarrett, who was joined by the Roadie for the Intercontinental Championship at 20 minutes and 1 second. I've noted down it was a standard match with back and forth action. Jarrett takes a walk and breaks the count out at 9 twice. Late in the match, Shawn takes a back body drop over the ring post, which looked impressive. Minor interference from the Roadie at ringside. Miscommunication leads to Jarrett scolding the Roadie. And when he turns around, Shawn hits Sweet Chin Music and gets the win to become the new Intercontinental Champion.
Also, Vince McMahon's mic broke in this one.
Yes, that was quite funny. When the King's reaction was like, McMahon's mic's broke. Yeah.
Again, I thought this is what I started to notice in the difference between, for example, if Jeff Jarrett took on Diesel. As soon as Shawn Michaels was there, the tempo just seemed to be the start of it. Just was out the blocks.
Yeah.
Whereas what we see far too often in British wrestling at this time, you get sort of the chain wrestling, the slower down.
That's
it's like, oh come on, lads, get on with it.
I guess it's storyline. That's the only thing I often mark down with the UK Indies is it's quite hard to get a storyline when you don't necessarily have regular viewers, or you don't put it on TV and you're just putting on kind of not necessarily spot fest, but you know the only reason you need to
exhibition.
That's
really.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Some promotions do it, some promotions don't, but it always looks better when there's a little bit of storyline as well, because it's like you say, it's not just a lock up, armbar, reversal, hip toss, headlock, run the ropes. It's always good to have something a bit different.
They're breaking a sweat in the first 30 seconds, and that's kind of what you need. Now, Jeff Jarrett, it's kind of weird seeing Jeff Jarrett, because obviously we know him nowadays of Global Force Wrestling.
GFW,
TNA. He was in WCW. That's when I first saw him, in that same outfit. So to see him back in WWE, it was like, wow, yeah, I forgot he had those longish hairs.
I'm trying to think. I think this may have been his last night in the WWF before he left for WCW. And I think... I think that was potentially something to do with Shawn. That's why he lost the title. And I think the Roadie was gone for a while at this point as well. Roadie, of course, being Road Dogg Jesse James of the New Age Outlaws fame.
He looked weird that night.
He looked weird just before the... it was strange because he still had his light dreadlocks, but he had the cap, and he just looked very 90s. Next match is... let's have a look. SummerSlam 1995. Hakushi defeated the 1-2-3 Kid at 9 minutes 27 seconds. Quite a short match. Sorry, should I say? So this was a light heavyweight style match before the light heavyweight division was a thing. Lots of martial arts style kicks as well as dives to the outside, including a cartwheel into an over the top rope dive from Hakushi. He also hits a nice handspring back elbow, but he wins it with the double underhook German suplex.
No, I like this one because this is what I'm on about. The quicker tempo is. This match seemed to be for me the if you can do that, I can do this.
That's it.
Trying to outdo each other. And I think the fans really got behind that.
And there wasn't necessarily much of a storyline from what I remember, but it was a case of let's just put in the work rate and get over with it that way. I loved that kind of So Hakushi kind of did a cartwheel in the ring, and then when he came out of the cartwheel, then jumped up over the top rope with a backflip, and it was kind of like a double flip that you see in gymnastics almost. But that looked really good. I loved that move.
Balls to do that.
That's it. And they hit the nice back spring elbow thing where you kind of do a handstand and your feet bounce off the ropes and you bounce back again and jump, and it was kind of.
That was entertaining.
As I say, it was a light heavyweight style match before there was the light heavyweight division.
Now, would you show that to somebody who doesn't know or doesn't get wrestling? Maybe, but is it one of the best matches of all time? Being a wrestling fan,
and ultimately, this is the thing. I when I first got back into wrestling, I was still kind of paranoid that people would find out and then kind of judge me harshly for it. So I was like, right, I'm going to go find them a reason why they shouldn't judge me and why I love this. And I still don't know if I've found the match yet, but there's been some contenders. But it was a good fun match.
It certainly was.
As I said, maybe lacked the storyline to make it a really important one, but still, it was a good fun match. And I loved Hakushi's tattoos or whatever they were. You know what I mean?
All over the face as well. We were kind of having a debate.
He looked like a barcode.
Whether they were fake or real. And I think
they didn't seem to come off. So they could have been real. Next match, this would be match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think Shawn Michaels defeating Razor Ramon in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at 25:03 at SummerSlam 95.
A rematch of our number one
from the first 10 years from WrestleMania. So as I said, rematch of their WrestleMania Classic. Early on, Shawn takes a vertical suplex to the outside and hits his ankle on the guardrail. That was gnarly from memory. A few spots which allude to the WrestleMania match. For example, where Shawn tries a similar maneuver but Razor dodges to show he's learned from the previous encounter. Brilliant psychology. I fucking love psychology in wrestling. Razor spends most of the match working on Shawn's knee after a bad fall. I think he fell off the ladder. Instead of just falling, his knee went inside the bit of the ladder and then fell backwards and took the ladder with him. It was gnarly again. In the end, Shawn struggles to retrieve the belt in a mildly botched ending.
It was a bit botched, and again, as Shawn Michaels does. What he does best is throw a little bit of a tantrum, didn't he? Which I think kind of ruined it.
That's the thing. I guess when you're a kid watching it, you may not have realised it, but as an adult watching it, you can really see him kind of just have a little temper tantrum. And,
he needs to
tell people off like he owns
grow
the
up
place.
a bit.
Yeah,
it's like, you fucked it up, son. You get up there.
It's funny how history hides these things. I like the match. I think they were trying too hard to not be the first match, if that makes sense.
But then, being sort of one of the first ladder matches, right? I know it wasn't the first.
One of them, a high-profile one, without a doubt,
So to sort of try and top what they did at WrestleMania the first time round,
I don't think they did.
No,
it's like the sequel. It was a good sequel, but
struggle.
It's never the original. I think they tried to take it the first match at WrestleMania in the ladders. It was good. It was brilliant. They used the ladder as well. I think they maybe tried to go too extreme with the ladders this time, like with some of the really bad-looking spots.
And they did have a spare one.
They did, fine, yeah. They made use of that.
They learned.
So it was a good match. It wasn't quite as good as their first one, in my opinion, but it was still good. I think if it wasn't for the botched ending at the end, I think Shawn tried to retrieve the belts and they were either too high or they weren't strapped on right, and he fell off the top of the ladder while trying to grab the belts.
Well, you can see where normal belts nowadays, I think everyone's learnt from that bit, that they are pull up a different way, whereas this one's kind of on its side a little bit.
It was a bit awkward, so I kind of feel sorry for him. Yeah. But it was still a good match nonetheless. Next match on the list, In Your House, number 5. Bret Hart defeated the British Bulldog for the WWF Championship at 21:09. So I've got Bret blades early on after being thrown into the ring steps. Bulldog uses his power moves throughout the match, whereas Bret retaliates with his standard moveset. Another suicide dive from Bret, followed by a springboard splash, which Bulldog counters into a power slam to the floor. Bret ends it with a magistral cradle to retain. Yeah. I struggle to remember about this one, if I'm being honest. It doesn't stand out in memory.
It was more of a chain match.
Yeah.
I found it kind of slow. I kind of found it a bit boring.
Kind of what you would expect from it. I mean, there's maybe one more Bulldog match on the list, which was a lot more entertaining. But this was kind of very standard. Two old guard guys, I guess. Bret Hart was kind of old guard, and Bulldog was around for
old
quite a while.
Old guard of the new gen.
That's it. Yeah. So they kind of kept it safe, but Bret still bladed.
Yeah, he did.
Had a bit of blood in there, kind of mix it up.
I think it was their storytelling that it kind of got a bit more intense as the match got on, didn't it?
So it started off like, we're related, let's have a match. And then after a while, it was just like, fuck you, man. And
you're sleeping with my sister. Well, what are you going to do about it? And it's kind of like two men outside of a pub on a Friday night.
That's it, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It still made the list. I just can't remember much about it.
Well, that's so you wouldn't actually show that to anybody.
Probably not. No.
Give them the 10 points. We got a new pointing system as well, but we'll go on about that a bit.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, I think in the next week's podcast will be Sharpshooting with the Killer, and we're going to discuss just what makes a good match, like what we feel makes a match. So. Yeah, in 7 days' time, if you listen to this on release day at least, come back and we'll be shooting the shit about what we believe makes a good match That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Next match, in your house 6, Shawn Michaels defeated Owen Hart with Jim Cornette to become number 1 contender to the WWF Championship at 15:57. So early on, Shawn runs the lap of the ring and high fives everyone. Owen follows suit, but is left hanging by the crowd. That was quite funny. I like that. Shawn uses a lot of heelish tactics, but the crowd cheer him on for it. Shawn is extremely cocky throughout. It's a technically sound match. The end sequence sees reversal of Sweet Chin Music, then the enziguri, with Shawn ending things with Sweet Chin Music to end the sequence. Sorry, I should have said that it was an enziguri reversal. So it's like he tried to hit Sweet Chin Music, Owen dodged it. Owen tried to hit the enziguri, he dodged it. Finally, third time lucky, he hits the Sweet Chin Music. I think this is... Do you remember the last list when we had Owen Hart and the 1-2-3 Kid, which was that kind of match that no one had have ever heard of or even thought to throw into the mix of a good match conversation?
That
and it was brilliant. I think this is one of those matches for me. Like, you wouldn't ever... I've never heard of this match before, but it was brilliant.
The ending was brilliant for me. It was a good, as I say, it was a good fire-up. When Shawn Michaels was finally going to get on top of it. That was brilliant. And of course, the reversal, you say the
reverse hit. Yeah, it was,
It was like, they got it. Wah!
That's it. And Vince McMahon was probably out of his skin at this time. Like, he's got to kick out.
And Jerry the King Lawler,
I genuinely enjoyed that match. And it was a good number 1 contender match, because obviously that then meant WrestleMania, it was then Shawn versus Bret, because Bret beat Diesel in a match we're going to talk about in a moment. Spoiler alert. But no, I genuinely enjoyed it. I think Owen and Shawn had a little bit of history, because Owen injured Shawn Michaels with the enziguri kick sometime before that. So every time he hit the enziguri, I think there was some kind of storyline of working on the back of Shawn's head and talking concussions and, is he going to be able to survive this match, blah, blah, blah. Loved it.
Lo and behold.
That's it. And
I didn't love it, to be honest. I found it a bit long and a bit boring. It
was only 15 minutes and 57 seconds.
It was long enough and boring enough. It really got going in the last a minute or so when Shawn Michaels started to. I think they kind of left it too long. But then again, they were told to do it.
That's what I said. But I thought it was really good. So Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart, technically 2 of the best wrestlers of this era, I think, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad because of the tragedy of Owen Hart. That I couldn't really, as a younger kid, see more of him than what happened, because I knew of him but I didn't really watch any of his matches, and then obviously the tragedy happened, and then obviously growing up I was WCW mad. Saw Bret Hart when he came in, brilliant, yay. And there was kind of no Owen Hart, so I kind of missed out on that, so I would like to go back and
they kind of worked as a package in the same organisation, because you can always go back to that feud if Bret or Owen didn't have anything to do, just go back just throw them back together. Which they did, as I say, further down the line they reformed the Hart Foundation. So the next match on the list was also in your house 6. Bret Hart defeated Diesel in a cage match for the WWF Championship at 1913. So lots of attempts to escape the cage early on, consisting of hit move, try to escape through door, rinse, repeat. Bret continues to bump like a kamikaze as Diesel works his usual power moves to maintain control. Late in the match, The Undertaker rips through the canvas and drags Diesel below the ring. Bret climbs over the top and lands on the floor to retain.
That must have been one of the first times that zombie kind of...
Definitely. It's been used so much recently.
Overused now.
So much, yeah. But at the time, I was watching and I didn't know that was going to happen, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I was whoa, The Undertaker's coming out the ring. Because obviously, I'm not... There's still a lot that I haven't seen in the WWF. In all honesty, I don't think I've really seen many pay-per-views from where I am at the moment in the list out. So everything from like 1998 onwards, I've maybe seen 1 or 2 bits. I've seen a few obviously famous matches, but there's a lot I haven't seen. So I probably haven't seen an awful lot of people ripping through the canvas and dragging people back down. So I fucking loved this.
Exactly. Yeah,
I absolutely loved it. So I'm watching everything chronologically from WrestleMania 1, and that's the first time I've seen it. And I thought it was brilliant. That's probably potentially a big reason why it's on the list.
I think so, because as watching it, I've seen so many standard cage matches, and I thought at this point that this one was a standard cage match.
To be honest, and we've said it before, I fucking hate cage matches.
I know you do.
It's just boring because, like I said, it's rinse, repeat. You hit a move, your opponent's down, you run for the door, your opponent gets back up, pulls you back in, he hits you with a move, you run for the door, your opponent gets back. It's boring. I hate the escape through the door rule.
But finally, we saw something different with The Undertaker. Hello, a minute.
And they'd settled into a match. They'd realised that running through the door wasn't going to work. And actually, I think it was then towards the end. So Brett was really wound down. Diesel was about to get out the door, and all of a sudden, here comes Undertaker and ruins the match for Diesel and sets up that match with him. WrestleMania Diesel and the Undertaker. And then Brett is free to go on and have an Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels. So... I mean, the match itself was kind of average, but I love the drama with the Undertaker coming out, and
I think that one made it.
That's it. That's why it was on the list. If it wasn't for that, it probably wouldn't have made my list. To be honest, my short list. So WrestleMania 12 is our next match, the longest match on the list. Funny enough, Shawn Michaels with Jose Lothario defeated Bret Hart 1-0 in sudden death overtime of a 60-minute Iron Man match for the WWF Championship at 1 hour. 1 minute and 52 seconds. Shawn enters from the rafters on a zip wire. The bulk of the match was chain and mat wrestling, not train wrestling, with side headlocks, arm bars, and various reversals. Arm bars. Midway into the match, Brett avoids speech and music, which hits the timekeeper and knocks him out for a bit of drama. The pace slightly picks up with more moves being used. Both men avoid each other's finishes about 3/4 of the way into the match. 30 seconds left. Brett applies a sharpshooter, but Shawn holds on and is saved by the bell. Gorilla Monsoon comes in and calls for sudden death overtime, where Shawn finished Brett by hitting sweet chin music twice. Now, it's a polarizing match, this one.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it's either the best thing ever or it's boring as sin. I think I'm on the latter. I think it's a little bit dull.
Yeah, but you try running around bumping up and down and pulling moves for an hour. You're going to do that.
It's a tricky one because you can't... The drama, like the closing minute or the overtime of that match in the last 5 minutes, you can't get that sort of reaction from a crowd without first having that 55 minutes of build-up. So I appreciate that. It takes a hell of a lot of build-up to get to that point where you've sat through an hour of even Steven wrestling. It's like, oh my God, something's going to finally happen. Kind of like football, I'm guessing.
But yeah, when it's 0-0, you're like...
There's kind of a lot of averageness, and then all of a sudden something good happens eventually.
Well, this is why I can see that a lot of American sport, they have overtime, like ice hockey or American football. They go, oh, wow, it's a draw. What the...
Yeah, hell no draws in this.
No, so I kind of like that, and I kind of like the story that they told, but... Is it a match that I would show somebody? No.
That's the thing. I don't think I'd say, oh, I absolutely love pro wrestling. You should watch this match. And then they're going to have to try and sit through an hour and probably wouldn't.
This is probably the second time I watched that match. First time I actually loved it because it was like so intense. I watched all the build up to it and going, hang on a minute, whoa.
I love the scoreboard and the clock because it gave it a sports-like feel.
Yeah. And it was a true sort of nation versus nation kind of feel about it, wasn't it? It was very patriotic.
Canada versus America, it was. I say it wasn't a bad match, but I don't think I'll ever rate it as high as a lot of people do, purely because a lot of it was quite boring.
Yeah,
it's sad.
I think there's been better Iron Man matches since.
I haven't actually seen any others yet. That's the first one and my thing. But this is the thing. Eventually, I'm going to have seen everything, and I'll be able to tell you everything about everything, because I'm the mastermind. I seek knowledge. That's what I do. Next match on the list: SummerSlam 1996. Mankind defeated the Undertaker in a boiler room brawl at 26:40. So this one, very different feel to the match, with almost no commentary or crowd reaction. The whole match is a wild brawl, which starts in the boiler room of the arena, eventually takes the corridors around the locker room area, and then into the ring. The match is decided by the first person to get to the ring and retrieve the urn from Paul Bearer. So after a very hardcore style match backstage, Undertaker makes it to the ring but is double crossed by Paul Bearer, who aligns himself with Mankind, and he gives Mankind the win. I loved the match. I didn't like the stipulation.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it kind of dragged it out at the end a little bit.
I loved the match. I loved the start of it. It was very eerie, very horror.
It felt like a horror film.
Yeah, it was brilliant. My heart was racing, going, "Hang on, where is he? Where is Mankind?" As we're following the Undertaker around,
and all of a sudden he kind of crawls back out from a corner. And it's like, oh, there he is, and
smash, and all hell broke loose. I felt the match went on a bit in the boiler room.
Probably, yeah.
I felt it did. I thought it could have gone into the locker room, maybe doing a bit more than what it did.
It probably didn't need to last. How long was it? It was 26 minutes. It probably didn't need to.
No.
They could have probably shaved off a good 5 or 10 minutes, I reckon. Yeah. And the in-ring stuff was a little bit tedious because Undertaker was there and Paul Bearer was like, nope, you can't have the urn. And instead of Mankind just taking the urn, they had to beat down an Undertaker for about 5 minutes as well. So it was kind of drawn out, but I loved the fact that there was no commentary or no crowd reaction, really. It felt like a very different match.
Oh, yeah.
After I've watched 12 years of the standard in-ring stuff, it was nice to have a change.
And I bet it was, like I said, it's made my top 10 just because it was new. It was something different.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think WCW did that at the time. Don't quote me on that. Seriously, don't. But yes, certainly doing this top 10 stuff with you and the matches that we've seen, it was
It's good to see different things. Yeah.
It was,
yeah. We like different things.
Well done, Vince.
Yeah. And of course, Undertaker and Mankind. Next match, In Your House 10. So this was Mind Games. Shawn Michaels with Jose Lothario defeated Mankind for the WWF Championship at 26-25. So early on, Mankind rips up the mat, but Shawn knocks him down under the mat and proceeds to stomp all over him. That was a bit gnarly. Shawn follows up with a dive and slams Mankind's head into the concrete. Shawn throws a tantrum mid-match after a botched spot, just kicking Mankind in the head, which looked pretty stiff. Mankind takes a vertical suplex on the outside, which slams his knee into the ring steps. Later in the match, Mankind gets drop toe hold face first into the steps. Closing moments see Shawn reverse a suplex from the top rope, driving Mankind and himself through the Spanish announce table. The match is thrown out after Vader causes the DQ. I loved this match.
Loved it. Yeah.
Because there was psychology. It was brutally intense. Shawn just went to town on Mankind, basically.
I felt this match, all it needed was a bit of romance somewhere. Maybe Mick Foley or Mankind kissing Shawn Michaels on the hand or something. Then it would have had absolutely everything. And this is one match you could have shown to.
That's it. It's definitely that's the one match what I potentially would. Only thing I didn't like was the DQ ending again. It didn't need it, if you ask me.
No, it didn't. But of course, if you have someone interfering, well, that's wrestling. It happens. People do come out. But you also had a bit of magic in there. At one point, the coffin opened. He was trying to put Shawn Michaels in, wasn't he?
Did that happen in this match?
I'm pretty sure it's this match. It's on my. Yeah, it did.
What, the Undertaker was in the coffin?
Yeah, and at the end,
how have I completely missed that?
I don't know, but I'm glad you did. And of course, so you opened it up. You can see no one in there. They're trying to get Shawn Michaels in there, and okay, it closed up again. And I think, at the end, it opened up, and the Undertaker was there. Like,
was that after the disqualification? Maybe I stopped making notes after the match finished.
Maybe. But the Undertaker was there. It's like, wow, what the hell?
I think mainly I loved it because there was a table bump, which we didn't get a lot of at the time. Mankind, some of the bumps he was taking were just brutal. And it basically was just the cocky, arrogant champion destroying the guy that he didn't think could shine his shoes.
Yeah, no, I guess so. But
Which is why I liked it.
I guess I'm not a massive fan of Shawn Michaels just because of his.
Unfortunately, he was that and I think temper. a few other people have noticed that. Ollie, he's in a lot of these matches, and I was like, but genuinely speaking, he was pretty much consistent as far as matches go. Like if we take Shawn Michaels out of the equation, there's very few good matches, unfortunately.
But I think that was the kind of, to be a good wrestler, you need to sell pretty well and bump pretty intensely.
Which Shawn
he
did.
Can do, and he does do that.
So you might not like. I mean, in all honesty, I think the more of I watch of him being quite cocky and like have the tantrums. Like I say, when he had the tantrum against Mankind in this match, he literally did just kick him in the head.
But then,
it was, you could tell he was frustrated because something didn't quite go his way. And I think their Mankind just came back and just slapped him around the face to kind of give him the receipt. And
was it in the corner or something? Just slapped him one.
And it was like, I don't know, it kind of, it makes me think that something could go wrong, which you don't want to see. Like when your mind's out of the game, you don't want to see two guys actually have a fight, because that would be boxing or UFC. You want to see a good wrestling match, and wrestling match, you have to have the emotion there whilst not being emotional, if that makes sense. So
but then this is Shawn was wrestling a guy who's had a match on C4 and got exploded all around the ring, lost his ear, and it's just a madman altogether.
That's
so I'm pretty sure a kick in the head was nothing.
He will just shrug that off. Okay, the next match,
loved it.
Survivor Series 1996. Actually, this was brilliant. Another match I'd never heard of. Psycho Sid defeated Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship at 20 minutes and 2 seconds.
Oh, my notes Grohl was spotted, sorry.
He was there. David Grohl lookalike was there as well. So the crowd gives Shawn the John Cena treatment, with Jim Ross noting that the cheers for Sid have a bassier tone, whereas Shawn fans seem higher high-pitched, oh my God, it's Sean! Crowd is extremely hot for this match, which Sid dominates throughout. Sean tries hit-and-run tactics to counteract Sid's power game. In the closing stages, Sid grabs the cameraman and nails Jose Lothario with it. Sean hits Sweet Chin Music, but is distracted by Jose on the floor, who's writhing in pain. So instead of going for the pin, he goes out and checks on him. Sid then hits Sean with the camera and finished him with a powerbomb to become the new WWF champion. The crowd reaction was bizarre, to say the least.
Now, who was the heel and who was the face at this time?
I'm pretty sure going into it, Sean was meant to be the face and Sid was meant to be the heel.
Yeah.
And they kind of quickly realised halfway through that the only people cheering for Sean were the little girls. Everybody else was going ape shit for Sid.
And I think the fans actually made it.
Definitely. Well, as well, I mean, I've seen a lot of Sid matches, because as I say, his earlier run in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, I've seen all of the matches. He's awful.
He is. His promos are awful.
Yet somehow in this match, he looks fucking brilliant. His psychology is spot on. He hits his moves perfectly. He doesn't do anything stupid. And I think it's the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was cheering for him, and all of a sudden he tried.
I think
he actually did well.
I think because he looks mean. He looks like a big badass German. Let's face it, he does. And he's huge, so he's going to be an easy bad guy, isn't he?
Easy guy to dislike. Yeah, dislike.
So all of a sudden he's going to. Oh well, no one's cheering for me. I'm not going to have like the girls around me, whatever. I'm not going to bother trying. I'm just going to do it and go do my stuff and leave
job,
again.
Go
but
home.
Now the crowd is going ape crap for him.
Yeah, let's actually put some thought into this. Yeah. So he went for it, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I think mainly the reason for the reaction was people were getting a bit fed up of Sean's shit.
Yeah.
To be honest, the tantrums and clearly how he was influencing a lot of stuff backstage. Yeah. People could tell.
Yeah, I think he obviously told the fans to F you and spitting at them. It didn't look like he was acting so much. If he was brilliant acting, he genuinely looked pissed off because
he just wants everyone to cheer for him, and they weren't, because I think they knew that he just wanted people to cheer for him, and so that made them want to hate him.
But the difference is between John Cena and Shawn Michaels is John Cena embraces people hating him, and I kind of like him for that.
Props, I guess. Yeah, but Sean just freaks out. He's like, shut up, cheer for me. No, fuck you.
No, I thought it was great on the part of those two because the psychology, you normally have the heel on top, they switched that round.
Yeah,
so Sean was on top most of the time.
But from memory, I think Sid dominated the most of the match.
You think? No,
until Sean hit the Sweet Chin Music, but then by that point, he was too distracted with Jose on the floor. There's every time I read up about this match, actually, I haven't heard of it beforehand, but I've read up a lot since, and I kind of feel like I need to mention that I know that they stole the ending from an ECW show the night before, where someone stole a camera and hit someone with it. Haven't seen that match, don't know anything about the actual match, but I'm going to throw it in there because I don't want people to judge me for not knowing obvious stuff, maybe. So yeah, they stole the ending. So what? Still, the crowd was there. It was Madison Square Garden. They fucking loved it. I loved the match.
On my thing, right on the end of the sentences, crowd went batshit crazy.
They did,
and it was brilliant.
It was where he went to hit the choke slam. Sean got out of it, and they went to hit it again. And then just when he even just getting ready for it, the crowd was so fired up. It was brilliant to hear. It was one of the hottest crowds I think I've seen at this time.
Screw you, Sean.
Yeah. Definitely. Next match, WrestleMania 13, of course, we had to get to it. Bret Hart defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin in an I Quit match at 22:05.
You sound a bit downhearted. Yeah, we had to get to this match.
Yeah, because it's the things I'm trying. It kind of feels cliche to put it on there because everyone puts it on their list, but it's a good match.
It is.
I don't like to. I like to try and find the hidden gems, but I also have to acknowledge brilliance. So my notes: Ken Shamrock's the guest referee. The whole match is a wild brawl with both guys showing an incredible amount of fire. They take the fight to the crowd, where Austin takes a back body drop down the stairs, which the camera mainly misses. Bret spends the majority of the match brutally working Austin's leg with determination. Austin gets whipped into the timekeeper's area and comes up bleeding pretty badly. Bret gets choked out with a microphone cord. Late in the match, Bret has the sharpshooter applied and forces Austin to pass out as he refuses to quit. Shamrock calls for the bell as Bret releases the hold but continues to stomp away. Shamrock pulls Bret off, but Bret refuses to fight him. Bret leads the chorus of boos and Austin is hailed as a hero.
Do you know what I liked about this match is not the fact that when I go back and watch it, when I think about it, Ken Shamrock was never on my mind. He was a perfect ref for me. He wasn't one of those ones
he stayed out of the way. Yeah,
which
I
is
think
fantastic.
more like muscle, because especially when they went into the crowd, anything could have happened. So, if you're not going to mess with.
You're not going to punch him. He's going to just
You're not going to try and be a hero when Ken Shamrock's around and he's going to just lay you out.
Yeah, exactly. I always like wrestling matches when they make me believe actually these two are going at it. It's a proper thing. I thought these two did that.
That's the thing, but it wasn't believable to the point where it was like a tantrum like Shawn Michaels was throwing.
Yeah.
It was like you say, it was perfect because they looked like they hated each other.
Looked like they hated each other. Their moves looked real. Their hits looked real. Was solid.
Everything was done with fire.
Yeah.
It was nothing was half-hearted. Absolutely every move was 110%. Just pure intensity for the whole match from both guys.
It also got an extra point because I spotted an NWO shirt in the crowd.
Yeah.
So extra points.
That's always good. So I'm sure we'll come back to that. But good to see some bleeding in the match. And I'm going to come back to this point later on. But also nice to see the ending where Austin doesn't quit. But he passes out, and that kind of made him the hero straight away. It's the famous double turn where one guy came in as a bad guy, left a good guy, and then the other guy vice versa. Brilliant psychology. It basically launched Stone Cold into the stratosphere, I guess. That was the match that put him on the map.
He didn't, to the fans, he didn't lose.
Yeah.
He didn't say, I quit.
Yeah, that's it. Did he? He didn't lose a match. Still it had to get thrown out. Brilliant match, and we will acknowledge it. Next match on the list is the shortest match. In Your House 15, Mankind defeated Rocky Maivia at 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So Mankind was in the midst of a face turn when Rocky's face push was not gathering many cheers. Pretty standard match until Mankind cannonball dives onto Rocky from the apron. A few minutes later, Rocky gives Mankind a rock bottom on the steel ramp. Rocky goes for a flying crossbody block, which Mankind rolls through and applies the mandible claw for a submission win. I think I put this match on the list for one or two reasons only. One, because it's good to get The Rock in. This was before he was The Rock.
Yeah.
And two, I really loved the rock bottom onto the steel ramp. Just another brutal spot that looked amazing.
That one did. In terms of, I guess because I'm a bit more, a few more years ahead, so I'm a bit for more matches. It was by those two standards when they are working together brilliantly. It was poor.
It was, but it was one of the first times they met, so I put it on there for historical context. We saw it either way.
It was my favourite. That spot was great, the rock bottom, but
it was a box standard match. Mainly.
It didn't get any.
Still not bad though, but it's important because it was one of their first matches, and these two guys would go on to be huge megastars. Let's have a look at the next match. King of the Ring 1997, Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin fought to a double DQ at 22 minutes and 29 seconds. So these guys were currently tag team champions but had a lot of friction. A pretty even start to the match with some good chain wrestling and a test of strength. Midway into the match, there's a nice pinfall series, and both guys find ways to avoid each other's signature offense. Austin breaks out the Thez press to a strong crowd reaction. Towards the end of the match, the ref gets bumped. Austin hits the stunner, but the ref is out cold. Austin picks the ref up and gives him the stunner for good measure. When he turns around, he eats a sweet chin music. The second ref runs down, but instead of counting the pin, he checks on the first ref. Shawn is pissed off about this and gives the second ref sweet chin music. Eventually, Earl Hebner runs out to DQ both men. I love this match. This was the hidden gem that I'd never heard about that I was hoping to find in this era.
No, I think Austin certainly flying through the air. Of course, you got Shawn Michaels again, the cellar and that and everything. It was a perfect match.
It was different again. And it wasn't. They dislike. It was more of a case they didn't trust each other, and they were both kind of lone wolves, but they were tag team champions, so they were conflicted. It wasn't quite the fire of Bret Hart and Stone Cold, but it was a different type of dislike and emotion. Yeah.
Well, was Stone Cold really ever, when he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, was he really ever with anybody? You know,
well,
I know he was
complete. He was complete lone wolf. He's been tag team champions with a number of people, and never got on with any of them.
Exactly,
that's his character. But as I say, in this match, it wasn't the case they hated each other. They just they just
got on with it and didn't trust each other, which is fair enough.
They came together because of their mutual hatred of Bret Hart, and they tagged up for a tag team match against Davey Boy and Owen, I think it was, and beat them without actually wanting to beat them. That wasn't their intention. They just hated Bret, and they ended up tag team champions.
But I like the storyline is because they're both were similar in the sense of they pulled out the finishes on the ref, on the authority figure, and that was fantastic.
It was an absolute car crash for referees that night because everyone got taken out. Just it's like, oh man, you didn't count my pin, right? I'm going to kick you in the face.
It was their moment.
Yeah, I guess.
I
just really enjoyed this match because it was almost like they were trying to one up each other. And it started off they didn't run at each other. It was like, right, we're going to do this thing. Right, I've locked you up. I've thrown you over. And now what can you do to me? And like it was a one-upsmanship story. And I just enjoyed it.
Well, if you're ever going to try and get in a one-upmanship with Shawn Michaels, you better bring your A game.
Yeah,
he's always
that's
up
it.
there
And Austin did in the end. But yeah, in a way, I know I've said I dislike DQ finishes, but this one kind of worked. Yeah, because it's almost like the result. Neither wanted to lose, but then they also didn't necessarily care too much about winning because there wasn't anything in it. It was more a case of we've got beef, let's settle it in the ring. Next match on the list, In Your House 16, the Great Sasuke defeated Taka Michinoku at 10 minutes exactly. So this was a very stiff Japanese style match, which is fair. With its fair share of high-flying moves. Suzuki hits a number of stiff kicks to Taka, which shocks the crowd as they aren't used to the style. Suzuki hits a flying kick from the top rope to the floor, then gives Taka one of the most brutal-looking kicks I've ever seen to the face. That just looked like it knocks his teeth out. Taka recovers and hits a no-hand springboard plancher onto Suzuki on the floor, which looked fucking beautiful. Suzuki hits a nice handspring elbow, followed by a springboard moonsault to the outside. Suzuki kicks out of the Michinoku driver soon after and hits a tiger suplex for the win.
I love this.
Breathe, yeah.
I absolutely love this because it was the Japanese style coming to America.
That's it, and it was both guys' debut. There's been Japanese guys before, but never quite like this.
No, there were high flying. There were kicks that. It looked like it was a karate match. To be honest,
it looked very much like a shoot match in some of it.
Yeah,
it was just that one kick to the face where Taka's in the corner and he does that spinning back kick. And it just rocked him. You saw it in the replay. There wasn't no selling required. He just kicked him in the face.
I'm going down the thing. If you're going to show anybody a wrestling match, you need to show them a neutral one like this, where people don't really know who these two are. So
it was the quintessential "who the fuck are these guys" match.
Yeah, and they pulled it off absolutely brilliantly.
The crowd was so going into it by the end of the match. The move I loved the most was when it is Taka's no hands springboard plancher thing. So he basically ran, jumped in the ring, landed with both feet on the top rope, and then continued to dive back off the top rope to the outside. Just smooth as fuck. It was a really good fun match. Another one of those hidden gems, I think.
Definitely. And of course, like I say, it's bringing the Japanese style. If you want to watch stuff like that, just go on the internet and check out a Japanese.
I think nowadays it's all over the shop. But then it was like, and as I say, bear in mind, I'm kind of watching this like the fans at the time were, because granted, I've seen a lot since, but at this point, I've watched an awful lot of 80s, then 90s wrestling, so I'm just as in awe of the new stuff as they are in a way. Although I've seen a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff I've seen is the past 5 years.
You're acclimatizing to the old way.
Oh yeah, I'm very acclimatized to the old school way of watching. So it's not, by no means do I not know anything, but I've definitely got into a pattern of settling into the style of matches because I've watched it all chronologically. So yeah, it was really fun to watch. We're in the home stretch now. So next match, SummerSlam 1997, Mankind defeated Triple H with Chyna, who hadn't had a boob job at this moment in time, so she looked very much like a man, in a steel cage match at 16:31. So steel cage matches again. Early on in the match, Triple H gives Mankind a vertical suplex from the top of the cage. There's lots of interference from Chyna throughout the match, including Chyna slamming the door into Mankind's head when he tries to escape.
That looked brutal.
That was another brutal thing because you could hear it, and it was the metal of that cage just,
clunk.
It was horrible, really. Later on, Mankind is ready to escape for the win, but decides to go back up top and deliver the cactus elbow from the top of the cage, playing tribute to Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Because of course that's I think they even told the story at the time in the WF of how Mankind was at MSG and he saw Jimmy Snuka do a Superfly splash off the top of the cage, and that was the moment that Mick Foley decided, I want to be a wrestler. So it was nice that he got his kind of snooker moment. Mankind eventually goes up and over as China can't quite pull Triple H out quick enough.
Botch ending, I think, at one point. Wasn't there China got into the ring as...
Far too early.
Yeah, and then she got out again and then did it again. And it was, the hell?
Yeah, because she was meant to pull Hunter out as Mankind was almost to the floor, but she came in way too early, and I think you could see him going, no, fuck off. Give him a minute. Like,
he's going to do his bit.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely loved that bit of when he was just like, nah, I'm going to get back up and do it. It was not majestic.
It's a spot we've seen a few times, though. It's the good guy in the cage. So they get to the top, they've got the bad guy lying in the ring, and they're like, they look outside to the floor, and they look back in, and then the crowd start cheering when they think, hang on, he's going to jump back in. It's almost like the crowd don't want him to win, they just want to see someone fly off the top of a cage.
Yeah, and it was brilliant, especially as Mick Foley, who's not the most agile, the slender.
He's not quite the aerial assassin.
Yeah, but it was amazing as you see his big ass flying through the air.
Yeah.
I forgot how big China's muscles were at the time.
Yeah, and it was really weird because she looked like a man with long hair. She kind of just looked like Triple H with black hair instead of blonde. It was quite scary. Like, if I was a guy at the time, I would have thought she was a man.
The Shining Twins just got... One had a died.
But yeah, so it was weird. But another good match. Nobody crawling out at the bottom of the ring this time, but another brilliant match. It was a feel-good match for Mankind, I think.
It definitely was, but I just remembered the ending. Well, obviously, Mankind won, and then...
When he landed on the floor and then Dude Loves Music hits.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what the fuck?
That's it. I think they'd introduced all three of the faces of Foley at this time, and I think the idea was that the feud was over, and then they played the music and Dude Love was back. And it's almost like Mankind had kind of... He'd slayed his demon in Triple H and he'd gone back to being Dude Love, and he was all about love and peace, brother. It was kind of fun. I'm sure there was a storyline going into Raw the next night. Next match on the list, we're down to 4 matches left. So this one's a nice weird one, another obscure one from the one night only UK pay-per-view from the NEC in Birmingham. Shawn Michaels with Triple H, China and Rick Rude defeating the British Bulldog for the European Championship at 22:53. Now, so let's read through my notes first. Bulldog opens the match by overpowering Shawn, who reverts to stalling tactics. Shawn spends a lot of time being beaten up until Rick Rude makes his way to ringside. First interference happens when Rude rolls the Bulldog small package. That kind of sounds dodgy, doesn't it? Yeah,
Rick
Rude
really does.
He rolls the Bulldog small package into a pin attempt for Shawn. Bulldog kicks out and double... KO and double, so they knock each other out in the ring. So Triple H and China now make their way to ringside. During some outside brawling, Bulldog slips down the side of the stage, which kind of it was a not necessarily a botch, but a slip, because there's kind of a gap between the edge of the stage. It looked a bit bad, but then they kind of quickly played on it quite well. Bulldog eats a pedigree on the outside and then gets rolled in for Shawn to lock in the figure 4. After Rude, Triple H and China all pull Shawn's arms to increase the pressure, Bulldog passes out, losing the European Championship on home soil. Hated the ending because Bulldog deserved better.
Yeah, again, it's against Shawn Michaels.
It's another case of Shawn saying, I don't care if he's in his home country, I want his shiny belt.
Yeah.
Which we'll see again in another couple of matches. Brilliant match though, one of Bulldog's best. Bulldog always used to have good matches over in the UK. If we talk about SummerSlam 92, when it was him and Bret Hart at Wembley, I don't think it was as good as that, but it was still a good match.
I was never a fan of British Bulldog, but again, I think the crowd make this one. They made it a...
They were behind him 110%.
National... It was like Churchill versus Hitler, basically. It just went absolutely crazy for him, and it was brilliant because he played up to it.
Lots of war puns tonight. We're talking about Germans in Psycho Sid, and now we've got Hitler and... Wow. Have you been watching the History Channel again?
Maybe with my beard going on.
You think you're some sort of historian?
Yeah, I do. I just think Psycho Sid looks like a German.
Yeah,
just like an angry German with his chin and
blonde hair, blue eyes, and built like a brick shithouse.
Exactly. But no, it was very much Britain. Yes, we got this big ass guy who's going to take on your puny little American ass.
That's it.
Or Hitler. And of course, the British Bulldog played on his muscles. And anything Shawn Michaels was throwing at him,
he just
muscle
bounced off. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, and everyone got behind it.
I'll allude to the WrestleMania 13 ending with Bret Hart making Stone Cold pass out.
Yeah.
So of course, Bulldog passed out. I probably think that this is kind of like I like what Bret did, I'm going to steal it on a kind of, I mean, let's face it, the show was a bit of a B show.
Yeah.
None of the guys really cared about it apart from Bulldog because they were in England and it wasn't America, and
but then again, it showed that Bulldog didn't quit. He was in his home country. He didn't want to let them all down. It had that kind of bit to it. But it was... And then, I didn't have the same feeling between Stone Cold passing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Because it wasn't quite as visceral as a match. And then, of course, the crowd just shitting all over the ending because, it's the worst feel-bad ending to a show, isn't it? When...
Especially if it's a pay-per-view as well.
That's it. It's the first time, you've got a pay-per-view in your own country. Your hometown hero pretty much is fighting for the European Championship in Europe, and of course here comes the shitty little American to piss off everybody and send everyone home angry. Not what you want.
End a Raw like that, don't end a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Well done, Sean. You've done it again, you prick.
You dick. Next match, I know, in all honesty, I've got a lot of notes here, but I'm not going to read them through because we're going to have a good chat. Bad Blood in Your House. Shawn Michaels defeated The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell at 29:57. First ever Hell in a Cell. First ever time we see Kane. What a match. I've written a whole spiel, but sod it. It was awesome.
I think because this is at the time where I was watching it at home, so I used to go to work and then come back and watch a match. Let's face it, the wife was away. I would play by watching wrestling. No, I tell you what, it was absolutely brilliant because of the hype and the build up to it. It was obviously Shawn Michaels being a dick.
Yeah, and actually getting his comeuppance because he literally the entire match, I don't think he really had the upper hand at all.
One little bit. Maybe.
He was just being tossed around like a rag doll.
It was
he was getting decimated.
You were on about Shawn Michaels in the back of the locker room, and from what I've heard on podcasts of recent time, the other guy was The Undertaker. So it was pretty much the locker room was probably going, yes,
that's it. Well,
finally.
From what I gather, The Undertaker's always been the kind of the
judge.
Yeah, well, yeah. In fact, alluding to the Stone Cold podcast with Edge and Christian, they talk about wrestlers' court.
Yeah.
Which is their kind of in thing, and The Undertaker's always been the judge, as in he decides if you've done good or bad, sort of thing. And it's almost like this is Shawn Michaels.
He's done
finally
bad.
Getting his comeuppance for pissing everybody off. It's like, here comes the big dog in the yard, and he is going to fuck you up for being a little bitch.
Oh yeah, I absolutely loved it as well because the cameraman got knocked out. Shawn Michaels looked like he was having a bit of another tantrum.
That's it. When actually it kind of played perfectly into the story because then the door opened.
Yeah.
We get our first ever Hell in a Cell match. We have our first ever table crash from the Hell in a Cell. It wasn't quite as good as Mick Foley's, but
again,
it happened.
I see what you can do. I can do one better.
That's it.
Bang.
It's as I say, Shawn just got the absolute shit beaten out of him.
I think
there was no interference from Shawn's behalf, and I love the ending as well. So Kane comes out, rips the door off, takes down the Undertaker, and Shawn, who can barely move, just drapes an arm over the Undertaker's chest, gets the win without even really realising it.
But what I also liked, thinking about it a bit more, is the Undertaker obviously chucking Shawn Michaels like a dog with a little puppy or whatever.
That's it, yeah.
And
like a dog with a puppy.
All of a sudden,
you
have
dog with
this
a toy, right?
Well, yeah,
I hope
whatever.
that's what you mean.
Well, unless you're being very brutal, as it was Bad Blood. Anyway, obviously the Undertaker, big man, and then all of a sudden Kane rips off the door face to face.
The look
as
in
big.
his eyes was brilliant.
And obviously he just picked him up like a ragdoll himself. Bang. And that was a fantastic story, opening to a storyline.
What a way to introduce someone as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll tell you what, there's no better Kane than Big Red Machine.
Loved
it. Like his new mask, I'm not a fan of. The old mask was just... Oh, I loved it. He was one of my favourite characters from when I was watching as a child at that time.
I kind of want to refuse to call him Demon Kane. To me, when he's got the mask on, even if it is shit, it's still Kane.
Yeah, I hate Corporate Kane.
Fuck right off.
Yeah, it's not a good character at all.
No.
Last two matches, both from Survivor Series 1997. We've got Kane with Paul Bearer defeating Mankind at 9:27. So that was Kane's in-ring debut. The whole match is in red lighting, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
A bit different again. Kane spends pretty much the entire match destroying Mankind, who once again takes some really nasty bumps. Mankind gets a little bit of offense, but ultimately Kane puts him through a table and hits him with a tombstone for the win. From what I remember, the storyline was Undertaker refused to fight his brother.
That was it.
So Kane then decided just to steamroll through everybody in the WWF until Undertaker agreed.
I think it was Mankind was the only one who stood up to Kane.
Yeah,
Like,
at that point, definitely. And I think Vader did at some other point as well, going into early days of the Attitude Era. But yeah, once again, just Mankind taking some nasty, nasty bumps.
If you're going to shove anybody who's willing to put their body on the line, just throw them with Mankind. And I thought it was perfect because it showed, finally, the fans got to see what Kane was actually made of.
Yeah.
Anything Mankind really threw at him, Kane just got right back up.
That's it, yeah. It's almost like, and he was kind of playing on the old Undertaker gimmick where, the sitting up the dead man thing, nothing quite fazed him. A short match, only 9 minutes long, but as I say, there's a table bump, Mankind taking a lot of bumps to the back of his head. It was just a brutal match, and I liked the red lighting. Again, it was different. It was something unique to Kane, which was always good. And of course, the last match, the Montreal Screwjob, Shawn Michaels defeating Bret Hart for the WWF Championship at 12 minutes 19. There's a lot of outside brawling to begin with, kind of then a standard I hate you type match, and then the infamous ending. We could talk until the cows come home about the screw job, but the match was all right, I think.
I liked it. No, because for me the match started when they started brawling. Not when the
definitely, yeah. Because once again, a lot of refs got taken out as well, which was quite funny. Because at this point, I'm kind of wondering why would you be a referee in the WWF? Because all these people are just running around kicking the shit out of referees with no real kind of danger of what's going to happen to them. So
good health.
That's
insurance.
it. Yeah, surely that's a dangerous work environment. I would be right onto my trade union. But yeah, not a bad match.
No, I did enjoy it. The ending, as we say,
it was. Yeah. I mean, in a way, to be honest, watch it because I don't think I've ever watched the match. I've read a lot about the Screwjob. I've seen a lot of documentaries on the Screwjob and interviews and opinions. I've never actually watched the match. And watching the match, it kind of felt like I wanted to say that's it. That's what historically everyone's been talking about.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a weird ending, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't feel as big a deal as it's been made out to be.
Well, no, I think it was because I think on the network, they kind of don't show everything that happened afterwards. And, of course, Bret Hart going absolutely ape shit. And even if I've heard like stories of when they even shut off the cameras, he was still going ape shit and smashing up the arena and God knows what. I don't blame him. He's just been screwed out of it.
I mean, well, I've got the Wrestling with Shadows documentary on DVD where, and as I say, we're not going to talk about the screw job. That can be for.
I have a theory on the screw job, which will be up on the Killer Sharpshooter next week's podcast for Figure 4 Radio.
Oh, okay. We'll include that on what makes a good match.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So check out the next Killer Sharpshooter.
How to get a plug in.
But of course, yeah. But either way, the match happened. It was all right. So that was our 22 matches, our 7 hours 43 minutes. Now, last time I think we both gave our individual top 10s, but what we're going to do, I've decided to mix it up a little bit.
I like this one.
So we're going to have a kind of a Eurovision Song Contest style rating. So I'm going to ask you for your number 10 match, and we're going to give it 1 point. And then your number 9 match will get 2 points, all the way up to your number 1 match receiving a full 10 points. So, Killer Kai Brand, what would you give 1 point to? What was your number 10 match on the list?
Shawn Michaels versus Mankind.
For the Mind Games.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. My number 10, I gave to Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels the Iron Man match. I felt like I had to put it on there because I respect what they did in that hour-long match. Like I gave them a little tip. I gave them the crumbs from my table.
I think I preferred the one a bit later, The Rock versus Triple H. It's probably because I've seen that one before, and then I saw this match afterwards. I was like, okay, it didn't really live up to that match.
That's fair enough. So that's 1 point. Number 9, your 2 points.
2
points.
Gave 2. Kane versus Mankind. As we just
very good. I don't think that made my list, but I'm glad that you've given them a nod because it was a good, interesting match. I gave my number 9 to Mankind versus The Undertaker, the Boiler Room Brawl, because it was a bit of a bum ending, but it was a brilliant little match.
Whereas I gave that one the 3.
Okay, so that's your number 8 slot. So 3 points you give to Mankind and Undertaker.
It's 'cause it was different.
Yeah, that's it was. My 3 points I'm going to give to Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, the Montreal Screwjob. Only because I don't think it quite lives up to the hype now, knowing what's happened since. The match itself wasn't as big a deal in my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah.
So number 7 out of your number 7 in your list, which will get 4 points, is
British Bulldog versus Shawn Michaels. Because of the fans, they made it. It was in this
very
thing.
true. One thing I've actually noticed on my ranking as well is the fans definitely influence how much I like the match.
Yeah.
You can have a brilliant match, and if the fans aren't into it, I tend to not rank it as high. Whereas you get an average match and the fans going apeshit, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Same as our commentary. If the fans are going apeshit as well,
That's
we
true.
tend to get more into it.
It's really hard for us to commentate on a match that the crowd aren't into. So 4 points. Actually, based on yours, my 4 points I'm giving to Shawn Michaels and Psycho Sid from whichever match that was when it was at MSG, when the crowd went apeshit for it. So 4 points for me for Sid and Michaels. Number 6 on your list, which will get 4 points. I'm writing it all down somewhere. Either way, next on your list.
It's really confusing because you've done it in
Reverse
order.
Yeah. So number 10 gets 1, number 9. Yeah, I know. So yeah.
Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall for me. Razor Ramon in the ladder match.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. In my number 6 spot, I went with Owen Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the number 1 contendership. I just loved it. It was a good technical match. It didn't necessarily. Well, it had something on the line, even though it had something on the line. Because it was a number 1 contenders match. They also had history, so it kind of worked for me. I really enjoyed it. So that was my number 6. So into our top 5.
Number 5 for me, the 5 pointers.
New gen top 10. What was number
Mankind
5?
versus Triple H in that cage
Match with China, the man. Okay.
Again, thinking about China botching up again, I think it was the moment of Mankind up on the top, jumping off.
That's it with the elbow drop.
Perfect.
I don't think that match made my list, actually. Because my number 5, I gave to Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon the ladder match. So your number 4...
Shawn Michaels versus Psycho Sid for the same reason.
Higher. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, just because the fans just went
They
absolutely
definitely
crazy.
made the difference. They definitely made the difference. So I can't, but I still don't think that was Sid in that match. I think it was somebody else that looked like Sid, because I've never seen him have a match quite like that. My number 4 I gave to Shawn Michaels and Mankind at Mind Games in Your House, number 10. As I say, it was I think Mankind showed that he could really go. Right, now top 3. It's going to get interesting now. What's your number 3?
Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13 in that submission match. Everything about it was just brilliant.
It was. I would definitely agree. Now, I'm quite liking the fact that's not number 1 for you, and it's not number 1 for me, actually. Spoiler alert. But a lot of people say it's the greatest match of all time, but I still don't think it is.
No, I think there's better.
It's definitely very, very, very good.
I hope.
I don't think it's the best of all time.
I reckon if we do a top 10 of all the matches of all time, which we've got to do one at some point,
we'll do when we've done all the eras. That's going to take a while.
I think that will still be up there within the top 10. I honestly think that.
My number 3 is Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels when they were tag team champions and they faced off against each other. So I just loved it. It had a slightly different feel. Both guys got to show they weren't always just pissed off with everybody, and they kind of semi-respect each other. It was just good from a psychology standpoint, I thought.
Fair.
Number 2. So this was 9 points for you.
This is my one. Is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the Screwjob.
The Screwjob, fair enough. So, yeah... Why is it so high for you?
Well, they always had the I hate you, you hate me thing, but for some reason they always pulled off a great match.
That's always surprised me, because
so I don't reckon they actually hate each other.
Whenever I'm working with someone I can't stand, I never do a good job.
No, but they both did.
That's it.
Is it mutual respect that we do hate each other, but we can both really go?
That's
we can
true.
really.
But then most of the time, if I'm working with someone I hate them because they're not good at their job. But both guys were clearly good at their job. But still, 9 points. That's not bad for Bret and Shawn at the Screwjob. I gave my number 2 slot to Bret and Austin, the WrestleMania 13 match. Very, very good match. But I think we will both agree there's one better, and I think there's a very obvious match that you haven't mentioned yet, as have I. And it's the same as our last top 10 list. We've both gone for the same number 1.
And it was new for the era, new for the time.
Hell in a Cell. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. From Bad Blood, it was just an outstanding match.
I think because we got so used to cage matches, now you had this structure.
It basically, finally, you're locked in there with your enemy. If they'd have had a cage match, it's not fun if Sean
You
can
can't
continue
run.
to run away. So adding up, doing the maths, I will now give you the Figure 4 Radio Top 10 New Gen countdown. So this is the new generation era, wedged in between the Attitude Era and the Golden Era.
If you have a different top 10, your top 10's wrong.
Pretty much. So at number 10, it's actually a tie. So it's joint at number 9, 5 points each. Mankind and The Undertaker of the Boiler Room Brawl, and Shawn Michaels versus Owen Hart, the number 1 contender match. Number 8, Mankind versus Triple H, that cage match at 6 points. There's no number 7 because it's a tie at number 6, both with 8 points. Shawn Michaels versus Mankind from In Your House 10, and Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels from King of the Ring 97. No number 5 because there's a tie at number 4, both with 11 points. Psycho Sid versus Shawn Michaels from Survivor Series 96, and Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, the Intercontinental Ladder match from SummerSlam 95. Number 3 with 12 points is Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, the Montreal Screwjob. So it balanced out. You put it as number 2, I put it as number something else, and it balances out at number 3 overall. Number 2, 17 points, Bret Hart and Stone Cold from WrestleMania 13, but with a clean sweep, maximum points across the board. Ladies and gentlemen, from Figure 4 Radio, the best match from the new generation era, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell from Bad Blood In Your House. Go and find those matches. Even the ones that didn't make either of our top 10 are worth watching, especially some of the hidden gems. So there we have it. That's our new gen top 10.
Fantastic.
What did you think of the new generation era generally in comparison to the golden era when we watched all of the golden era matches?
Yeah, they're getting better. They're getting there. But again, the Macho Man versus Steamboat, it was so... They worked on that for months, you could tell, because it was so crisp, clean.
This.
It was brilliant. I loved that match. Again, like you say, the new gen, we had Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, and that was obviously our last top 10 because that match was so much better. So
it was ahead of its time, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. They're getting there, but they're not quite there, and I hope the Attitude Era top 10 will.
That's it. I get the feeling the Attitude Era is going to be a fun one for us to do. It'll probably take us another year or so before I've watched every single match to pull up a shortlist. I'm going to go and get on them now. Tune in next week when we'll be having a Killer Sharpshooter where we're discussing what makes a good match. But for the time being, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Figure 4 Radio. My name's the Mastermind Ollie Spring. I've been joined by the Killer Kai Brand, who is going to tell you all about our social media plugs because he's really good at that.
Okay, yeah, go to our website. You can get all of the podcasts on there from Toby's Toy Box, Mastermind Analysis, and of course the Killer Sharpshooter. It also links to our Figure 4 TV, that's our YouTube. Just go onto our website, it's figure4radio.weebly.com. We also have a Facebook as well, facebook.com/Figure4Radio. And why not follow us at Twitter, which is at Figure 4 Radio.
That's why you are an invaluable member of the team. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Do go and check the other podcasts on the list. You can find the Heatwave. Go right back in time from where me and Kai were talking about the top 10 matches from the golden era. But for now, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.